Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, if you guys have been watching for a while now, you know that I have been warning about AI data centers popping up around the country. Well, these facilities and the AI companies have really become a wild card in the midterm elections that we were not counting on earlier in the year. This is a issue, hot button issue. It's a really big flashpoint, and something that I believe is going to play a very big part in swinging the election toward the Democrats if they play their cards right. Because a lot of rural voters went for Donald Trump, as you guys all know, and those are the areas that are being most affected. Obviously, when you have these places that are the size of like 200 football fields combined, you have to go out into rural areas. And I think Republicans are definitely in for a rude awakening over this topic. So take a look at this. So the Texas Tribune interviewed the Texas Agriculture Commissioner last week. So this guy just got voted out. He's still in the position, but he lost his race, in part due to another Republican in the state, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But he said he is likely to leave some of the ballot boxes blank. That's hard to ballot boxes blank in November, because of these data centers, just specifically because of this issue. So his name is Sid Miller, and he told them, quote, "I haven't committed to anybody. There's some Republicans I may have to leave blank. I just can't do it." And here's the thing. He told the Tribune, and actually I have the visual on this. He said Republicans should be on this issue and we're not. The Democrats are, and they're right on the issue. I'm not endorsing any Democrats, but we're going to lose some elections in the midterms because of this one subject. So don't take it from me. What do I know about Republicans? Take it from a MAGA Republican in the state of Texas. And then Miller has been pushing for a 1-year moratorium on these facilities, but he said he can't even get an appointment, can't even get a hold of Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who is one of the people responsible for pushing him out. Miller said in 12 years that they've both been in office at the same time, Abbott has never returned a phone call to him, has never responded to an email from him. He said he has never even had a meeting with Greg Abbott in those 12 years. That is insane. They're from the same party, you guys. It's not like, oh, this guy is a raging liberal and Abbott just doesn't want to meet with him. And then listen to this. So Abbott had previously referred to Texas as the AI epicenter. Okay. And he was doling out all of these tax breaks to AI companies, trying to lure them to the state. Well, now with the midterms coming up, Abbott is starting to pretend like, oh, we should try to get more regulation on these places. We should start to do audits about electricity costs. It's such bullshit. And even Miller said he called it all smoke and mirrors. And he said he's just trying to gain votes, obviously. But he thinks even that after Abbott wins, he's just going to let the AI companies do whatever the hell they want. And it's not just the people of Texas who are pissed off about these places, as I've shared with you guys before. Check this out. So remember this guy? Look who crawled out from under his rock. Eric Adams, former mayor of New York City. So he apparently, if you're wondering what he's up to these days, he's apparently like a propagandist and like a front man for AI developers. And so he was in Wisconsin. I think this was just last week. And he just got relentlessly booed, heckled. So he's at this public event. He's trying to push this, like one of these facilities on the locals, trying to convince them that this is so great for them. And according to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune, people in the crowd were yelling at him. They were saying things like, "You belong in prison. You're here to steal our water." And they actually had to move this event to a larger space because they said by mid-morning, there was so many people there that they weren't expecting. It was standing room only, and there were even more people outside and all holding protest signs. So this is just all of the usual villains involved in these data centers. And as you guys all know, Adams took a pardon from Donald Trump. He had alleged crimes filed, actual felonies filed against him. So Donald Trump waved his magic wand, made it all go away. And, Adams promised him, oh, yeah, you can let your ICE Gestapo run wild in my city. Anyway, so the polling on these things, the polling on these AI data centers is just brutal. So here's what Politico found. They did a survey in mid-July, and they said just 16% of people agree that data centers benefit the area they are built in and the country as a whole, while roughly 60% said they either come at the expense of the local area or the country or provide no benefits at all. So people are not buying this. And check this out. This is what Morning Consult found. They did another nationwide poll. This was conducted last month. They said the survey of more than 2,200 registered voters was conducted earlier this month by Morning Consult. 71% of respondents favor stricter rules or limits on data center construction. Wow, really? You don't say. And then they said this. According to the poll, 77% of those surveyed said they were alarmed about higher electricity bills and deals cut without public input when it comes to the centers. And states, they cite like Florida, have enacted laws on these centers to prevent utility costs increasing for their residents, which every state should have. And even Fox News had to admit that the vast majority of Americans are opposed to these data centers. Look at their polling. Absolutely brutal, like I said. So all voters, 70% disapprove, oppose these data centers. Look at this. Even the MAGA Republicans, I mean, they're more favorable than any other group, but even 53%, even a majority of MAGA Republicans say, yeah, no, I don't want this in my area. So this is an issue that is literally bringing the right and the left together. I mean, not since Katie Britt's response to the, what was it? The SOTU response, the State of the Union address. Not since then, or Kristi Noem killing her puppy. Like, have we ever seen the right and the left come together like this before? And younger Americans are the most opposed to this for very obvious reasons. So check this out. So you can see down at the bottom, the age breakdown. So 18 to 29-year-olds, most opposed. 38% are favorable towards them, 60% not impressed, not interested in AI. Like I said, it's for obvious reasons, right? They're the generation that is going to get hurt the most by AI, because AI is taking away jobs, taking away entry-level jobs. And they're also more knowledgeable about the negative consequences of these data centers. So I've seen this in my own conversations. The youngest people that I speak with, they know all about it. They know about the noise. They know about how, the electricity and water prices are spiking. So it's the older Americans who are just now catching on to this and coming to realize that, oh, we might have a problem here. They're always surprised, not always, but a lot of the time I'll talk with older people and they're kind of shocked. Unless they live near one of these places, they haven't heard about all of this. And here's the thing. As I mentioned before, these facilities are being built without the public's input, and in many cases, without the residents knowing at all. They aren't given any advanced warnings. And this is being done by design. So I'm going to prove this to you because Politico, they spoke with someone, they quoted this guy who's involved with AI companies. And here's what he said, quote, "I'm sitting in rooms with mayors all the time and they're getting advice from other people like you can't talk about this or you'll get killed at the next election." So they're literally politicians are being advised, do not tell anyone in advance. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. Do it and then, deal with the fallout later. And this actually happened in Central California. So take a look at this. So this is a Wall Street Journal article, and it says how Amazon built a data center in a California town without anyone noticing. Company and Gilroy, California spent years quietly negotiating 2 billion project that few residents knew about until work began. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Residents knew nothing about this until the construction started. So the residents are rightfully pissed off because the city's community development director, this one person, just quietly approves this development in 2023. She or he, I don't know, used an existing law, this industrial zoning law, so that it wouldn't have to go through the city council, there wouldn't have to be any public hearings. Just so flagrantly undemocratic, like just vile. So, I mean, it's one thing to build an industrial facility, right? To have a commercial facility. It is another when you build one of these data centers that are literally destroying people's lives, driving their costs through the roof, driving their property values down to the point that they can't even sell their homes because nobody wants to live near this shit. Nobody wants to listen to that noise 24/7. So, it's just this is an issue, guys. I'm telling you, keep an eye on this. If Democrats do not bring this to the forefront, if they don't make this one of their number one key issues, as I've said before, it is political malpractice. They are being wildly irresponsible and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So, anyway, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.